Okay, so as you guys know, displacement, velocity, and acceleration can be represented with a symbol of S, V, and A. Okay, these three quantity, all of these is actually a vector. So when you say that this is a vector, it means that it has a positive and negative. Then that positive and that negative actually represent the direction of each quantity. Okay, when I say it's positive S, that means the displacement is to the right of 0. So that means, let's say if I have a timeline, it's not a timeline, a displacement, like this one is x equals to 0. So anything to the right of this one is a positive S. Okay? Anything to the left of x equals to 0 is negative S. Okay, so far, are you guys okay with this?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so the positive,
Okay, sir.
very good. So
Okay,
the
sir.
positive and negative indicates the direction. So in this case, the position lah. Kalau positive S is to the right of 0, negative S is to the left of 0. Example. So I think I'm going to draw it in the different page so that I can draw it a little bit bigger. Okay, let's say this is my center point. X equals to 0. Center point tu dia tak semestinya starting position. It could be anything lah. So let's say we just put this one as center. Let's say I have a person standing in that position. Okay. Okay. Let's say now the person is traveling from x equals to 0 to x equals to 4. This is the second position. So actually at B, this person is actually travel by positive 4 meter to the right. Okay, itu dia punya key things lah. Kalau negative, that means it's on the left hand side. This side. So I can padam this one. And I'm going to erase this one as well. Just want to show you that the positive inside, sama macam gambar tadi saya lukis. This is the positive S-pin area. This is the negative S-pin area. Okay. Okay, velocity. Velocity is a vector. So you will expect positive V, direction dia ke mana? Kamu rasa kalau positive V, direction, yes, okay. Positive V, direction dia to the right. Negative V, direction dia?
To the left.
Yes. So, positive V, negative V. Okay, notice that in my drawing right now, I didn't draw the x equals to 0. Okay, because velocity, once we want to consider whether it's positive or negative, you can straight away look at the direction of motion. Okay, tengok the motion dia ke mana? Ke kiri, ke kanan. Kalau V equals to 0, maksudnya dia static. Itu je. Kalau position tadi, dia ada x equals to 0. To the right of it is positive, to the left of it is negative, above is positive, below is negative. Itu kalau position lah. But for velocity, anything that goes to the right, direction to the right, that one is positive, to the left is negative. Upwards positive, downwards negative. How about the acceleration?
I think it's the same.
Yes, it's the same with the velocity. So that means if positive A, the acceleration of an object is to the right. Negative A means that acceleration of an object is to the left. Okay. Note that this one, okay, positive and negative means direction. The reason why I write this one is because in school, some of you guys might learn that positive and negative mean acceleration and deceleration. Not. Okay, it does not mean positive acceleration, negative deceleration. It does not mean like that. Dekat sini, dekat matrix, we learn that negative A means acceleration to the left. Positive A means acceleration to the right. Okay, the reason why at school you learn that negative A is deceleration because you always assume that the object moving to the right. So anything move to the left, that means dia adalah negative. Sorry. Anything move to the left is deceleration. Sekejap saya kasih contoh. Okay, let's say this person travelling from point A to point B. Okay, S dia positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay, so let's say this is our point B. So S is positive. How about the velocity?
Positive.
Velocity is positive. Good, very good. Okay, what if this person initially start from a rest, initially the velocity is 0, and then it start to run. So U equals to 0 initially, and then this guy, they start to run, and the velocity at B is equals to 3 meter per second. Acceleration dia ke mana? To the right or to the left?
Right.
Okay. Does this mean acceleration is positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay. Good. Very good. This object accelerates or decelerates?
Accelerate.
Kenapa kamu cakap
Accelerate.
Velocity bertambah.
Apa dia? Tak dengar, sorry. Dia accelerate sebab apa? Saya tak sure saya punya internet slow ke kamu punya internet slow, tapi dia macam breaking sikit.
Sebab dia punya velocity bertambah.
Okay, velocity pertama, very good. Okay. Another thing is that you can see that direction of V and A is in the same direction. Okay, ada dua case. Sorry, ada dua indicator that this object accelerates. One, the velocity increase. That one is the key thing. It start from 0 and up with 3. And the other one is the direction of V and A in the same direction. You can see from the diagram here. V and A in the same direction. That means this object accelerates. Okay, now, if I want to represent this motion from A to point B in terms of graph, the 3 graph. So basically in your syllabus you have 3 graph. Why I use blue pen? I'm gonna change it to black pen again. Okay, so far you guys ada yang tak faham tak? Ada yang tak clear?
Faham, sir.
Faham? Susah ke tak?
InsyaAllah tak.
Okay, don't worry. Kalau ada soalan tanya, jangan senyap. Tak ada masalah.
Okay, sir.
Sama-sama. So this 3 graph is basically similar shape. Sorry, I mean the only difference that the axis got S, V and A. The x-axis represent the time, means that as the time goes up lah, dia tak ada time, tak ada negative. So S, V and A. I'm gonna write the SI unit. Okay. This one is minus 2. Okay, so we are talking about that situation just now. Okay, so in case kamu dah terlupa, saya look kat bawah ni. Okay, this person travel from A to B. It has a positive S. Okay, and then it has a positive direction of velocity and positive A as well. Okay, the reason why S, V and A is positive because this directed to the right. So tiga-tiga ni direction dia ke kanan, SV dengan A dia. So in this case SV dengan A dia tu positive. Okay, now in terms of graph. Okay, let's say we want to do the acceleration first. Okay, so acceleration paling senang nak nampak dia punya graph bagi saya lah, because for your syllabus we only have constant acceleration. Okay, in this case katakan saya boleh lukis dekat 3 place. So I can draw it like this, I can draw it like this, I can draw it like this. So let's say this is my answer A, B and C. Which one of A, B and C represent our situation just now? A. Okay, good. Masa bila dia dekat B tu? Apa maksud dia kalau dekat B?
Tak bergerak, bukan?
Acceleration is 0. So acceleration is 0, it could mean two things lah. If the object is initially static, katakan asalnya dia static, so there's no acceleration, so there's no change in velocity. So in that case dia adalah static. But if initially the object is moving and there's no acceleration, the object, it means that the object move at the same velocity. Itu maksud dia. Kalau yang C tu maksudnya apa?
Ya, apa cerita?
I wouldn't say it's decelerates, but the more appropriate one would be direction.
To the left.
Yes, to the left. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, that was very good. Okay, so in this case it would be A. Berapa nilai dia kita tak tahulah. In this case, kalau ada, you basically need to label this one. Over here, you label the number. Okay, what can you say about the velocity?
Increase.
Velocity increase. So, if I want to draw the shape of my graph, would be a linear or quadratic?
Quadratic.
Linear.
Okay, kenapa linear?
Sebab tak ada change in
Direction.
tak ada change.
Okay, so the increasing would be linear and then it would be in positive lah. So increasing dia ada dua. Satu, kita tahu dia start from 0 kan. So the graph goes from 0 and it goes up. So final speed dia adalah 3. So it could be like this or it could be like this. Okay, but in this case, since the velocity is to the right, so obviously yang down tu adalah salah lah. Okay, kalau dia macam ni, it means that the rate of velocity dia increase at a constant rate. So the gradient is the same. So kamu tengok dia punya gradient tu, keceronan dia dekat sini, and over here is basically the same. M1 and M2 is equal. It means that acceleration is a constant. Okay. Kalau dia adalah not a straight line, let's say dia adalah quadratic, it means that the acceleration is not constant. Okay, ada soalan tak so far about acceleration and velocity?
Tak ada madam. Tak ada sir.
Okay.
Faham.
Sir.
Yes.
Macam ni sir kata kalau tak straight tu?
Okay, contoh kalau dekat straight let's say if I draw it like this. Okay, yang rate tu it means that, okay, because you have a graph of V against T, the gradient of this graph represent the acceleration. Okay, so the gradient, kecerunan dia tu, kalau kamu kira yang dalam amali, m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 over x1, you will see that the gradient over here is actually 0. So initially the acceleration is 0. So as it goes to this direction, the acceleration increase, or the gradient becomes steeper. Okay, it only indicates that the acceleration is increased. So if I want to draw it like this, then my graph of acceleration should be like this. Okay, understand?
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. So that one actually represent the graph of S. Okay, as you can see that the velocity keeps on increasing, so you can imagine that the shape of S against T would be quadratic. Oops. Okay, so S is positive. So kalau positif dia belah atas. Okay, even if it is positive, dia ada banyak shape lah. It can be like this, quadratic like this. It can be like this. Or it can be a straight line like that. So ada 3 shape yang boleh for S. Okay, kalau yang this one, yang straight line ni, it means that the velocity is constant. Sebab apa? Gradient of S against T is velocity. Boleh ikut?
Constant.
Yes, boleh ikut Okay, good. Kalau yang this one, that means the velocity changing. Sama macam yang biru ni. But the difference is, for blue one ni, yang biru ni, initially the gradient is 0. Velocity is 0. The flat tu 0. And then it becomes makin cerun, steeper. So it means that the velocity is increasing. Tally dengan this graph. For this one, you have a very steep graph. Kalau yang red tu, and then it becomes less steep. Eventually dia jadi 0. So itu akan represent something like this. Faham ke tidak?
Faham.
Okay. Okay, hopefully you guys can understand this. Okay, if you guys not, don't worry. Nanti kita akan go through few more example later on. And kalau still tak faham, boleh tanya personally lah. But I think kalau ada boleh tanya terus lah. It's better because I think most of you guys masalah dia sama je. Okay. Okay, kita dah tengok few cases. Cuba saya kasih example situation number 2. So kamu nak tengok situation ikan tadi ke nak tengok situation lain?
Boleh,
Ikan lah
boleh.
ikan.
Boleh je
ikan.
ikan.
Apa? Tak dengar?
Ikan.
Ikan.
Okay. Kita tengok example lain. Tapi nanti dekat end of this lesson, kamu try balik example ikan tu. Tengok sama ada kamu faham ke tidak. Kalau
boleh,
tak faham, boleh komen kat situ.
Boleh.
Ni suka tanya opinion kan. Tanya lepas tu decide sendiri. Anyway.
Tak apa.
Okay, I give you another example. Saya fikir nak kasi example mana. Okay, katakanlah we are talking about an object masih lagi bergerak to the right. Okay. So example 2, this is a person. It travels from A and to B. Okay. The velocity initially is equals to 5 meter per second. And finally, the rest. Dah penat jalan, dia berhenti. Let's say the distance it travels, maybe dalam 10 meter. Sorry, tak logik 10 meter. Let's say dia travel dalam 2 meter. Pendek sangat pula. 20 meter. The time taken, let's say, is about Saya tak nak masuk calculation lah. I don't want to include the calculation. Okay. What can you say about the sign convention for S, V, and T? This person travel from A to B. Okay, S dulu. S dia direction ke mana? Positive or negative?
Positif.
Positive S. How about the velocity? Positive
Positif.
or negative?
Negatif.
Negatif.
Negative.
Velocity to direction of this person. This person, they travel to the right or to the left?
Oh, to the right. To the right.
To the right. So kalau to the right, maksud dia positive or negative?
Positif.
Positif.
Okay, very
Oh.
good.
Positive.
Okay, clear. How about the acceleration?
Same.
Positive.
Positif.
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 Okay. You have to look at the velocity over there. So initial velocity is 5. Final velocity is 0.
Negative.
So this object is decelerate or accelerates?
Decelerate.
Okay. So kalau decelerate,
Accelerate.
A dia ke mana? To the right or to the left? In this case.
Left. Right.
To the right.
To the left. Sebab apa to the left? Dia kalau decelerate, A dengan V tu opposite direction.
So tapi saya kata tadi negatif dengan positif tu untuk position dia.
Direction.
Tapi A tu dia still sama juga kan?
Sekejap. Opposite direction. Apa nak tu tadi? Lupa lah. Opposite direction. Decelerate. Sorry, apa tadi? Sama maksudnya?
A dia tu still ke kanan kan sir?
Okay. Cuba lukis dekat bawah sini. Katakan ni, let's say this is my object. Okay, S dia ke kanan. Okay, this one tak ada masalah. So it's positive S. Velocity because it travel from A to B, so it move to the right. Positive V. Okay, now acceleration. Kalau if you say that the acceleration is positive, that means acceleration is in this direction. Okay. But in this case, kalau you draw it like this, that means this object accelerates. Sebab apa? Acceleration ke kanan, velocity pun ke kanan.
Oh, dia kena ikut nombor tu jugalah sir.
Dia kena tengok yang ni lah, this one. So since dia decreasing in velocity, maksud dia acceleration is opposite direction.
Okay.
Okay sir, okay.
Okay. In a way, acceleration tu sebenarnya adalah direction of net force. Kalau kamu nak bayangkan in term physical tau, A tu adalah direction of force juga. Contohnya, katakan saya lukis ini sebagai objek, bukan orang lah, kotak. Kalau kamu tak nampak kita cuba bayangkan benda lain pula. S dia ke kanan, V dia ke kanan, A ni direction acceleration dia tu. Kalau dia sama direction, maksudnya objek ni makin lama makin laju. Kalau ini opposite direction, maksudnya objek ni makin lama makin slow. So in this case, the direction for A should be in this direction. Okay. So it should be like this lah. A to the left, velocity to the right means that the velocity decreasing. Initially dia 5. Lepas tu dia jadi 4, jadi 3, 2, 1. Sebab apa? Acceleration dia ke kiri. Understand?
Understood.
Okay, very good. Okay, this one, this process, we call that this object decelerates now. Tapi, bukan dia yang tentukan sama ada A itu positive atau negative. We try one more time. One more example. Okay, example 3. Okay, let's say now, this object, they travel from point A and then towards point B. U is equals to 10 meter per second. Velocity final is equals to 0 meter per second. Okay, now, sign convention for SV dengan A. Okay, we start with S.
Negative.
Very good. So negative S, because it's travel from x equals to 0. Let's say this one is x equals to 0. It travel to the left. So it means that the S is negative. How about velocity?
Negatif.
Sebab
Sebab dia kurang.
kan? V.
Oh, dia to the left.
Yes, very good. Negative V.
A
Very
positive.
good, very good. Okay, A positif. Kenapa?
Sebab dia accelerate.
Sebab velocity dia berkurang.
Okay, so velocity is decreasing. So V dengan A tu mesti opposite direction. So because of the V to the left, A should be to the right. And because of A to the right, A tu adalah positive. Understand tak?
Sir,
Faham.
Okay, any question?
sir.
Yes?
Kiranya A tu macam geseran lah, macam tu. Sebab tu jadi kosong, macam tu.
Sorry?
Kiranya A tu macam geseran lah.
Okay, in this case, yes. A tu macam saya cakap, kalau kamu nak bayangkan dia sebagai force, dia force yang opposite direction untuk decelerate tu, appropriate force is geseran lah. Kalau kamu nak bayangkan lah. Tapi actually kalau based on the situation, kamu tak tahu pun kenapa dia slow down. Maybe ada orang tolak ke. Faham Tapi kalau kamu for the sake of imagine, boleh je. Yes, Daniel?
Kalau dia punya velocity tu constant, so A dia positif ke negatif?
Okay, kalau velocity constant maksudnya apa? Acceleration dia adalah
Zero.
Tu tak ada.
Tak ada.
Okay sir.
Alright, very good.
Thank you.
So kalau acceleration 0, kalau kita pergi kat graf ni kan, dia kat mana duduk dia tadi? Kat tengah ke kat bawah?
Dia kat line.
Kat tengah.
Tengah.
Very good. Okay. So for this situation, saya nak cuba tengok dia punya graf. Okay, sebaik muat. Okay, kamu nak buat mana dulu? SV ke A? Tak kisah mana.
S dulu.
S. Okay, kita buat dulu S. Tapi kan dalam exam kalau kamu buat dalam let's say if you are trying to solve a question kan, my suggestion is that you try to start with the one with the most information. Okay, between S, V dengan A, in my opinion, I think you have most information in V. Okay, because you have the initial one and you have the final one. Okay.
Faham. Okay.
Alright sir. So kita start dengan V.
Boleh? Kita start dengan V. Okay, kalau kita nak start dengan V, graf dia bentuk macam mana? Okay, mula kita tengok dia punya direction dulu. Positif ke negatif?
Negatif.
So because of this one, you have a negative direction to the left. So your graph, you will expect in this region only. Yang belah bawah tu je lah. Okay, boleh ikut?
Boleh sir.
Okay, how about the magnitude? Magnitude dia increase ke decrease?
Decrease.
Okay, decrease from where to where? Magnitude asal dia berapa?
From 0
0 to 10.
10 to 0 kan?
10 to 0.
So 10 to 0.
Okay, pagi ni biasa kita memang tersasul. So 10 to 0. Okay, 10 tu negatif ke positif?
Positif.
10 negatif.
10 negatif. Because initially, dia objek tu memang pandang ke kiri. Sorry, I mean the velocity dia to the left. Yang A dekat A ni, dia sebenarnya move to the left lah. Kalau takkanlah dia boleh dapat kat sini kan. So, V tu is negative. Walaupun dalam soalan tak beri. So memang dalam exam is like that. So they wouldn't give you the sign convention for velocity S or A. You have to substitute it yourself. So be careful with that. So in this example, it should be -10 because it travels to the left lah. So 10 is negative, and then the magnitude decreasing to 0. So the graph, so kalau dia decreasing ada dua shape lah. So it could be a quadratic or it could be a straight line. So mana satu?
Straight line.
Straight line. Okay. In fact, your syllabus memang dia tak ada quadratic untuk V. Quadratic tu hanya untuk S. Sebab apa? Sebab A kamu ni sentiasa constant syllabus kamu. So shouldn't be a problem. So dekat sini sepatutnya kamu tak akan jumpa quadratic. Unless memang sepatutnya tak jumpa lah. Tak ada unless lah. So it should be a straight line like this. Ataupun dia boleh jadi macam ni ke, depends. Okay, now the next one, kamu nak buat apa? S ke A?
A.
Okay, let's say kamu nak buat A. Tak kisah pun, yang this one dia tak kisah pun. So let's say you want to do A. Positif ke negatif?
Dia positif.
Okay, positif. So kalau positif, you will expect the region to be involved with this one lah. Okay, value dia constant ke berubah acceleration dia?
Constant.
Constant.
Dia punya tu berubah.
A dia constant. Okay, the reason kamu might assume dia berubah sebab tak cukup information. So saya tak cakap pun A dia tu berubah ke apa kan, tapi sebab syllabus kamu memang A dia tu constant. So it's either positive, 0 atau negatif. Itu memang kamu punya syllabus. Ada macam ni je bentuk A dia tu. So don't worry too much. Okay, so in this case the positive kan, so
Yes.
it should be over here. Okay, positive A. Okay, and now how about the S? S dia tu negatif, positif.
S dia negatif.
Okay, so region dia bawah ni. Okay, now dia punya asalnya 0 ke final dia 0?
Final 0.
Asal dia 0, final dia negatif.
Yes. So based on the drawing dekat sini x dia equals to 0. So starting dia adalah 0. And then final dia ada nilai lah sebab dia dekat base ni. So saya assume that this one is x equals to 0. So the question might state otherwise lah, but in this case, this example, the x is equal to 0 over here. So initially it should start from here, and then final position should be negative down there. Can you guys agree with this?
Okay, yes.
Okay, so the question is, ada 3 types of graph kamu boleh lukis. One is a straight line, another two is quadratic like this, ataupun quadratic like that. So which one yang kamu rasa?
Yang ketiga.
1, 2, 3. Ketiga, lain? Putri rasa yang pertama, kedua, ketiga?
Macam yang pertama.
Pertama, okay. Balkis?
Sama.
Pertama, kedua, ketiga?
Yang ketiga.
Ketiga. Syuhada?
Ketiga.
Ketiga. Okay, tak apa. Kita teka je. Nanti kita tengok. Saya pun tak sure mana satu. Okay, tapi most of you guys agree yang dia bukan straight line. Sebab apa? Kalau dia straight line, maksudnya velocity dia adalah constant. Sebab dia punya increase in displacement tu to the negative direction tu adalah sekata. So that does not happen sebab kita tahu yang velocity dia tu menaik. Okay, so kalau macam ni, saya try to draw this. Okay, if you draw it like this, that means initially macam saya cakap lah, gradient dia tu melambangkan velocity. Okay, so the gradient tu initially is 0, and then the gradient increase and increase. Okay, kamu tengok gradient ni positif ke negatif?
Gradient dia negatif.
Yes, negatif. Macam mana kamu nak tahu gradient positif atau negatif? Kalau kat sekolah dulu kamu ada belajar kalau dia macam ni, kalau kepala dia tu point to the right, it is positive. Kalau head dia tu point to the left, dia adalah negatif. Maksud macam ni yang saya try lukis. This one is positive M. This one is negative M. In this case is positive V and negative V lah. So kalau macam ni, in this case, example, so this one is gradient equals to 0, and then gradient dia negatif, semua sini negatif, tapi dekat sini negatif yang menaik. Kalau kita tengok yang sini, jawapan dia daripada sini, nilai dia adalah 10 kan, and it goes to 0. So does this one represent this one?
No.
No. Okay, good. Very good. Oops. Okay. Saya padam juga atas tu, so saya tak nak confuse pun kamu. So, let's say kita tengok lagi satu example. What if I draw it like this? Okay, this one, it means that initially the velocity is in this that one, the gradient, and then dia macam ni, macam ni, macam ni, macam ni. Mana pen saya? Okay, ini maksudnya positif ke negatif M? Kepala dia direct ke kiri ke kanan? Tak faham yang positif negatif M tu confuse
It's confused.
Okay, don't worry. Okay. Kalau graf kamu macam ni, ini adalah positif V. Kalau graf kamu ke kiri like this, it's a negative V. Gradient dia tu is this one lah. Kalau yang ni, direction dia tu sebenarnya kepala dia ni, this one, to the left. So it's negative. Sama macam tadi sebenarnya. Cuma tadi tu, kita lukis dia macam ni, macam ni, macam ni. So dua-dua ni represent negative V. So dua-dua ni possible untuk yang this one. The only difference is that initially this one has higher magnitude, and then it becomes less magnitude. It becomes makin flat. So bigger number to smaller number. Okay. I guess okay.
Okay,
so kamu masih bersama saya.
masih bersama saya.
It's okay. Jangan susah hati kalau kamu confused. Biasalah benda macam ni. This thing is kamu baru belajar. So kalau sekali belajar tu tak faham tu, biasa. Dia pun tak faham. Dia confusing. I understand. Saya dah ajar pun kadang-kadang saya nak kena fikir. Macam saya buat example, every time saya draw pun saya kena tanya diri saya, logik ke tak? Kadang saya kena ambil masa sikit lah. So it makes sense kalau kamu initially kamu a bit confused. But don't worry, once kamu dah start buat soalan, once kamu dah start more examples, you guys should be okay. So to conclude this one, it should look something like this. Okay, going back to this graph. Okay, so some of the important parts here is that you can basically, if you have a graph S against T, you can calculate the values of velocity by finding the gradient. Okay, The same thing applies from velocity against time graph. You can find the acceleration by calculating the gradient. Okay. If you want to find from acceleration graph, you want to find the velocity, you can find the area and the graph. Same case over here, applied. Okay, cuba kita tengok satu contoh. Let's say if you take one example. Let's say I have a graph like this. Velocity dia macam tu. Okay, so that means the gradient M dia tu. Okay, in this case M dia ni represent apa?
Gradient acceleration.
Okay, acceleration, correct. So the gradient, kalau kamu calculate, kamu akan dapat acceleration. Area under the graph, kamu dapat apa?
Displacement.
Yes, very good. So area, in this case adalah displacement. Okay, now you can do the same with the graph of S again, A. In this case, let's say if you calculate, S dia tu positif ke negatif? Oops.
Positif.
Positif. So displacement dia adalah positif. Kalau negatif, kalau macam contohnya graph tadi tu kan, kalau yang this one, area under the graph is actually negatif lah kalau kamu kira. Maybe kamu sekarang ni kamu kena terima je dulu sebab kamu tak cuba lagi. But don't worry, nanti kamu dah cuba, should be okay. Okay, now you might not have time to go through each one of this. Okay, so saya explain sedikit lah apa maksud graph ni. This graph actually, the three of these wujud dia pair. Dia wujud together. Okay, contoh yang saya discuss tadi. Okay, tapi graph ni pun sebenarnya dia tak tepat sangat. Sebab apa? Dia tak consider negative S. So ada yang kurang lah. So sebenarnya ada lagi bawah sana. Tapi tak apalah. Yang this one is for positive S. Maksudnya cara nak tengok graph ni, dia exist macam ni. These three, they exist together. So this one is just a guide. Later on, you can try to look at the examples. Ada student dia cuba nak hafal. Saya tak suka student hafal. Cuba tengok example dan cuba compare kamu punya graph. Does it make sense to have something similar like this? Okay, yang ni maksudnya apa? Okay, cuba kita tengok satu lah. Let's say kita focus in this one. Okay, what can we say about the displacement ni?
Positif.
Apa dia? Sorry? Positive.
Positif.
Okay. So they travel to the right. Okay, I zoom in a little bit. So this one is positive S. So it's travel to the right. How about the gradient? Increase ke decrease?
Increase.
So maksud dia velocity dia naik ke turun?
Naik.
Right.
Okay. So in this case, gradient gradient dia macam ni. Gradient dia menaik. M dia positif ke negatif?
Positive.
Okay, sebab apa dia punya kepala tu menghadap ke kanan, pointing to the right. So this one is positive M, which means this one is positive V. And the velocity increase as it goes further. So this one makes sense ke tak?
Makes sense.
Yes, very good, very good. Okay, now how about the acceleration? The gradient here represent dia punya
Acceleration.
yes, constant gradient ke?
It's a constant.
It's a constant gradient. And in fact, this
Constant.
one is positive sebab graph dia ke kanan. So inilah dia kamu punya nilai. Okay. So all this while we are not talking about numbers yet. Sama ni saya cakap, saya cerita tu tak ada numbers. So maybe tak ada numbers, kadang-kadang ada student dia tak susah sikit nak bayangkan. So after this, what I want you guys to do, some of the tutorial question. Pakai ini. Okay, this one is the tutorial question. So I want you guys to start to try to do the objective question. Tu memang buat lah, objective question tu buat dulu. And then I want you guys to try to do question number 6, 7, 8. Okay, sampai question 8. 9. Okay, try to do sampai question 9 tutorial.
Alright, sir.
Okay, so tomorrow kamu cuti. Then esok memang tak ada kelas pun. So tutorial 1 sampai 9. Okay, our next class we try to discuss a little bit lah. And then if you guys okay, kalau semua okay, kita boleh proceed to the next one, which is something about question tu.